Michael Meyer-Resende joins us now in the studio to talk more about this draft constitution. Thank you very much for being with us today. Now, you're a lawyer and a director also of the agency Democracy Reporting International. So coming from that point of view, let's talk about the role of Islam in Sharia law in this draft legislation, this draft constitution. From a Western point of view, this is a move away from democratic values. So how do you view basing a constitution on these religious aspects?
Well, you know, in the region, there are almost all constitutions have this Sharia clause. And in Egypt, it's there already since 1980. So it's not entirely new for the country. The question is always, what does it mean? If it's a mere moral appeal, we wouldn't be too concerned. The moment it hardens into a rule that is applied by courts and influences legislation, then, of course, it conflicts with democracy and democratic legislation.
Talking of democracy, what do you make of the role of the military? They're quite powerful. Even civilians, we just heard it, can be trialed in a military trial.
Yes, this has been one of the major concerns in the last 2 years. These trials make a mockery of fair trials as we know them. And it's a real concern that they now have been enshrined in the Constitution. It's part of this new Constitution that it really cements the role of the army that has always been a state in the state, and now even more so.
Now, this legislation calls for equality between men and women. Can this realistically be enacted?
I think it's first a legal question. You have the Sharia clause and you have the equality article. And if I give you an example, according to the Sharia, a daughter should inherit less than a son. Now, what do you do with that? If you do that, it's not equality. But if you afford equality, it may contrast with the Sharia clause. So that is a question of implementation. There's also a question, I think, of the political reality. The new situation is supported by the hardline Salafi party, and they will maybe not support very much any moves towards equality. So it will be a question of the future politics of Egypt.
All right. Well, the voting is still going on for another day. Now, if passed, do you think this constitution could pave the way for peace in Egypt?
I have my doubts, to be honest. I would contrast it with Tunisia, where you had a real negotiation between groups that were not of the same opinion, but are agreeing on a draft as we speak. In Egypt, there was more of a constitutional war, that one side imposed one version on the other, which is the case of this constitution as well. So I think it will be a long way until Egypt finds peace with itself.
Okay, Michael Meyer-Resende, we thank you very much for your insights today. Very interesting. Thank you.